Hello and welcome to another episode of Maryland Criminal Defense Today. I'm Marcus Boston and I'm joined in the studio with my wife Renee Boston.
Hello everybody.
And today we want to talk briefly about an encounter that we experienced yesterday in court on a criminal case. And I'll let Renee go ahead and pretty much frame the issue and go from there.
Well, what people typically don't realize when they've been accused of a criminal offense, it doesn't matter how minor the charge is, there are certain issues that may need to be addressed that are kind of outside of the actual elements or the actual arrest. What pretty much the state needs to prove is one thing. However, the procedure is another issue, and that's where the benefit of legal counsel is concerned. So the biggest question that comes to mind from yesterday is, if the charges are minor, do I need an attorney?
And that's a good way to frame the issue. Again, if the charges are minor, should you go ahead and try to handle it yourself, or should you hire an attorney? And I think that there's a balancing act that must be done a lot of times with these types of situations, because of course a person does have the right to represent themselves, but what would you say about the person who may not understand the procedural aspect of things?
Well, actually, I'll just give you an example of what I saw yesterday firsthand. A couple of cases were called where individuals who did not have an attorney could have very well had their cases dismissed procedural-wise because of some certain issues with evidence or witnesses or things like that, where the state in essence requested a continuance, and the judge, it was really the judge's discretion whether or not to grant those continuances. But if the defense would have objected, the court 99.9% of the time would not have granted the state's request for a continuance. So in this particular instance, the state requested a continuance. The judge looked at the defendant, who was alone, who did not have an attorney of any kind, and asked him, did he agree or disagree with the continuance request? He said he agreed with it, and that would allow him some time to get an attorney. So the judge granted the state's request to continue. So a case that technically could have been over today is going to linger for several more months and give the state another opportunity to, pick up where they're left off and do their investigation and their research in the interim. Now, one of his people that was actually arrested with him and charged with him as well.
One of his co-defendants?
One of his co-defendants, right. Case was called a couple of people after his. This person had an attorney. Same scenario played out where the state asked for a continuance. The judge looked at the attorney this time and said, do you agree or disagree with the continuance request? And the attorney goes, well, of course, we disagree with it. And the judge said, okay, I will deny the state's request for a continuance. Looked back at the state's attorney, and the state's attorney said, well, we have no choice but to dismiss the case.
Now, again, we're going to make sure, though, that we put that caveat out there that nothing is guaranteed, of course. We cannot guarantee a result. But what happens is what Renee was just saying, sometimes there are procedural defects in these cases.
Exactly.
And if these defects are brought to the attention of the court early enough, and the state can't remedy these defects, then the state's only other alternative would be to dismiss the case, and that's essentially what happened on our case yesterday.
Right.
Because you were representing one of the co-defendants, and the gentleman who went to court by himself, his case is continuing to go forward.
Right.
And he could have gotten the case resolved yesterday.
Well, exactly. Two people involved in the same situation. The client that reached out to us, the one that retained us, case is over with, done with, and that's it. But the gentleman that was arrested with them will be coming back to court in February on his case.
Right. So there you have it. This is just a quick podcast just to help you out and give you some information. And if you are one of these people who are kind of on the fence, should you get an attorney or should you try to do it yourself? Again, that's a decision that you have to make for your situation. And you have to factor in, there's a lot of factors, right, Renee?
Exactly.
That goes into whether you should handle it yourself. So if you would like to reach out to us, you can send us an email at info@bostonlawllc.com. Again, that's info@bostonlawllc.com. And Renee, they could also give us a call at
301-850-4832. Again, that's 301-850-4832.
And I am Marcus Boston in the studio with my wife,
Renee Boston.
And we will see you next time. Bye-bye. You have just listened to a podcast from the trial attorneys at Boston Law Group, LLC. For more information, you can reach us at 301-850-4832. And if you would like us to answer a question in one of our podcasts, send us an email at info@bostonlawllc.com. Thank you and have a great day.